The greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, April 27th, is shaping up to be almost as big as WrestleMania. It may end up being a better show than WrestleMania. Which means the WWE has got to be making a fortune off this deal to load this show up the way that they are. I'm surprised the Saudis haven't bought a stake in the company at this rate. They still might. They may end up owning half of the company by the time this thing is over. The show is a big deal if they got Brock Lesnar to fly all the way to Saudi Arabia, a guy who doesn't even like to leave his house, and he's traveling all the way to Saudi Arabia. That there must be a lot of money at stake here on this show. He will defend the Universal Championship on that show, inside of a steel cage against Roman Reigns. And everybody thought Roman was winning the championship at WrestleMania. I thought Roman was winning the championship at WrestleMania, and he didn't. So I can't sit here and tell you for sure that, well, this time for sure he's going to win the championship. Because they love swerving us. They love swerving their own people. Wait until I get into the details about how this whole thing went down at WrestleMania. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes here. Even the people helping putting the match together behind the scenes were not clued in as to what was going to happen at the finish. I don't know what is to be gained by fooling your own employees. I don't know that builds a lot of trust internally, but so I can't sit here and say for sure that Roman is going to win the championship in Saudi Arabia, but I figure that's exactly what's going to happen. Very slick on Vince McMahon's part to set Roman Reigns up to win the championship on foreign soil, where he is very likely to get a far more positive reaction than the one he got at WrestleMania. It would be kind of funny, though. He goes all the way over there and gets booed. I don't think he will. I can safely say I think that no matter what kind of reaction he gets, even if there are some boos, it will be a far better reaction than he got from the people at the Superdome last weekend. And it would to me, it's just hilarious, though, if that really is the mindset here. If the mindset is, let's just, swerve everybody and change the WrestleMania finish at the very last second. And instead, let's bring this guy over 7,000 miles away around the world so we can give him his big crowning moment in a more favorable environment. The Undertaker will also be making a rare non-WrestleMania appearance against a returning Chris Jericho in a casket match. Jericho is in a very interesting position here because Jericho has already wrestled Kenny Omega in New Japan. And unless they've already just dropped the entire idea, I would still think at some point in the next few months he's going to have a match with Naito. And sandwiched in the middle of these two matches, he's going to have a casket match in Saudi Arabia against The Undertaker. That's a very interesting year for Chris Jericho. Not too many people can claim to have done that. Now, this is not the first time that these two have wrestled. They had two matches on SmackDown, one in late 2009, another a couple of months after that. Originally, this was announced as a casket match between Undertaker and Rusev. And everybody pitched a fit. They were talking on, all I saw on Twitter, people, they're literally going to bury Rusev. Even Rusev played into it. He tweeted out, "Bury me softly, brother." That was his tweet, "Bury me softly." Of course, all of these people are now taking into account the fact that a match with The Undertaker would be considered a pretty big frickin' deal, no matter who you are. Whether you're losing, whether you're winning, and of course, you're gonna lose. Somebody like Rusev is not beating The Undertaker. It ain't a bad spot to be in. But he and Lana went and they shot their mouths off in this interview with TMZ. He called Undertaker, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically called him an old man, and it's time for him to step aside, and all these, other things. And Michelle McCool, Undertaker's wife, got wind of this, and she didn't take very kindly to these comments. And then, lo and behold, about a day later comes the news that Chris Jericho was replacing Rusev in the match at the event. Now, I don't buy into this idea that this is all part of the plan. I know it was Meltzer, whoever said, this is all part of the storyline. All the Rusev stuff is all storyline. I don't buy that. I don't buy that all of it is part of the storyline. Okay? And really, those comments he made to TMZ, I don't think that there's anything wrong with those comments that he made. I really don't. He was being a heel. It kills me that people are not allowed to be a heel in 2018. It's not even like he crossed the line, like he used a bad word or he he didn't cross any line. He cut a heel promo on The Undertaker. And Michelle McCool goes on Twitter and she, quote tweets a link to the interview and says, I had to listen to this to see if he really did use those words. And then she put like some cryptic comment or something with a bunch of emojis, and then poof, Rusev is out of the match. But there was nothing wrong with what he said there. Now the tweet about bury me softly, brother, I mean, it's like poking the bear. That might not be the smartest thing that he's ever done. But I absolutely believe this guy's got heat with the wrong people in this company, and he's paying the price for it. Even if they are playing up some of these stories and stuff, and I don't think he is leaving. I don't know if he asked for his release and was just rejected, or if that was all bullshit, but I don't think he's on his way out. Even if he wanted out, I don't think they'll let him. So I don't think he's going anywhere, but I absolutely believe this guy has heat with the wrong people in this company, and he's paying the price for it. He is still supposed to still be on the card. He'll be in that 50-man Rumble match itself. But again, this guy has got heat with the wrong people, and no matter how hard people chant Rusev Day, it ain't going to matter. 4 years ago, let me tell you something. I was in New Orleans 4 years ago for WrestleMania 30, okay? And 4 years ago in New Orleans, all week long, all weekend long, all you heard up and down Bourbon Street, every single day, every single night, was yes, yes, yes. That's all you heard. This year, 4 years later, it was Rusev Day. Everywhere you went, Rusev Day, Rusev Day, Rusev Day. The guy is over. Losing to The Undertaker would not have hurt him. Not wrestling The Undertaker won't hurt him. Doing nothing with him is what will hurt him. Not capitalizing on it is what will hurt him. And we'll see where he lands with the shakeup this week. Because I think a move to Raw may be exactly what he needs. And hopefully with Aiden English in tow. I would hate to split the two of them up. Especially for Aiden. Aiden's got a good gig right now too with the whole Rusev Day thing. But that may be the best thing for him. Now there will be a 50-man Royal Rumble match. They're calling it a Royal Rumble, but I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a Battle Royal. Are they really going to have, 50 entrances? I guess they will. They're calling it a Royal Rumble match, so I assume it'll work, with usual Royal Rumble rules. And they've got a lot of big names in there. Kurt Angle is going to be in the Rumble match. Daniel Bryan, which means we may get to see Kurt Angle and Daniel Bryan do some spots together. Rey Mysterio is now expected to be part of the Rumble match as well. So that's another big name added to the card. And there's a lot of other, I'm not going to run down all the names. There's a lot of other names, obviously, in the match as well. I'm not sure what the winner gets other than bragging rights. They have not said. Maybe they get a trophy. Maybe they get to wrestle the champion of their choice at Money in the Bank in June. That would be something I would consider doing. But it depends who's going to win. It's hard to say. If it were me, I'd probably go with Daniel Bryan. But, maybe they just want to give somebody a feel-good moment, and it really isn't somebody who you would normally put in a world championship match, so maybe that's why they won't, want to have something like that on the line. It really does just depend on who's going to win this thing, whether or not it makes sense to have a title shot up for grabs. It could just be for like a trophy or something, I remember them doing something in Kuwait back in 97. I think they actually called it the Kuwaiti Cup. It was like a tournament, like a special one-day event that they did. Or maybe it was more than one day. I think Ahmed Johnson won the Kuwaiti Cup. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe they have a cup, that goes to the winner. But we also have John Cena taking on Triple H. We have AJ Styles defending the WWE Championship, most likely against Nutcracker Nakamura. We've got a ladder match for the Intercontinental title with Seth Rollins defending against The Miz, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe. The Bludgeon Brothers defend the SmackDown Tag Team titles against the Usos. The Bar will challenge either Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt or The Revival for the now vacant Raw Tag Team titles. And Cedric Alexander will defend his Cruiserweight Championship on the show as well. There are no women's matches because the women will not be there, which kind of kills their whole narrative of there being this big women's revolution. It's a women's revolution only in certain parts of the world, I guess. Other parts of the world have to play catch-up. But this whole thing, it airs Friday, April 27th at noon Eastern. It does air on the WWE Network. I will be recording a sound-off extra on YouTube for this show the way I would for any other pay-per-view. Now, it may not go up until the next day. I have to work that day, so I'm probably not going to be able to watch this thing live. And God knows how long this show is going to be. It could be a 4-hour show for all I know. So I don't know exactly when it will go up. If not that night, definitely the next day. But I promise you there will be a review up on YouTube for the show that weekend.